The first meeting between humanity and the Galactic Council was not a negotiation. It was a spectacle. A grand, shining hall aboard the orbital station known as Crux 7 played host to the meeting, its walls adorned with shimmering banners of alien civilizations that spanned millennia. Sitting smugly at the head of the table was High Chancellor Vylok of the Avani, a slender, crystalline race whose intellect had made them the self-proclaimed rulers of interstellar politics. Flanking him were representatives of countless species, the hulking, drash, massive insectoid warriors, and the Nimiae, ethereal beings of light. All watched humanity's delegates with thinly veiled disdain. In stark contrast to the Council's grandeur, the humans sat quietly at the far end of the table. General Area Monroe, flanked by Admiral Clark and a handful of other Earth representatives, kept her face stoic. Compared to the tall, armored aliens, humanity looked fragile, almost small. The room's atmosphere was suffocating. Their silence screamed louder than words. "Your species," Vylok finally said, his voice a melodic echo, "are primitive." He stood, crystal-like skin catching the hall's artificial light. "Your achievements are a laughable footnote in the galaxy's history. Stone tools, combustion engines, and your warships," he paused, savoring the derision in his tone, "are but scraps of technology. In the face of us, you are nothing." The Council erupted in laughter, a sickening mix of insectoid clicks, ethereal hums, and metallic echoes. Arya's expression did not change. She let them mock. She wanted them to mock. "You called us here," Arya finally said, her voice cutting through the laughter. "Why?" the Chancellor smiled. "Ah, yes. Entertainment." The lights dimmed, and a holographic projection appeared above the table. Earth. Human cities' modern marvels of steel and glass looked insignificant compared to the Council's sprawling megastructures. "We would like a demonstration," Vylok continued. "Bring forth your weapons, the greatest your species can offer, and amuse us." The Council laughed again, louder this time. Arya nodded slowly. "Very well." Her tone was calm, unnervingly so. "We'll show you." She tapped a device on her wrist. Prepare to witness humanity's answer. For the first time in the Council's history, a chill settled over the room. Chapter 2. The vault opened. A few hours later, the Galactic Council gathered on the observation deck of Crux 7, its enormous windows providing a pristine view of the void. In the distance, a single human warship appeared, dark and angular against the stars. Compared to the gleaming alien cruisers, it seemed underwhelming. The Avani Chancellor smirked. "Is this it?" he asked, turning to Admiral Clark. "Patience," Clark replied, his voice devoid of emotion. From the warship, a signal burst across the void, a coded message. Seconds later, the stars behind the ship began to twist and warp. One by one, massive shadows emerged from slipspace, their silhouettes blotting out the light. First came the Retribution, an Earth-made dreadnought the size of a small moon. Its hull bristled with energy cannons, magnetic railguns, and weapon systems the Council could barely comprehend. Following it were the Vanguard and the Harbinger, two more Titanic vessels that glided silently into position. The observation deck fell silent. What are those?" whispered one of the Nimier. Clark stepped forward. "Those are just our carriers." Before anyone could respond, Earth's fleet unleashed its demonstration. From the Retribution, enormous bays opened, and squadrons of smaller ships poured forth, thousands of them, glistening like swarms of deadly wasps. At the same time, the dreadnought powered up its primary weapon, a colossal energy cannon that made the station's shields ripple just by charging. "This is impossible," Vylok shouted. His crystalline form seemed to dim as fear replaced his arrogance. Clark turned to him. "You wanted a demonstration? This is us holding back." Chapter 3. The truth about humanity. Council scrambled for explanations. How had humanity, a species they had deemed insignificant, built weapons that eclipsed even the greatest fleets of the Drash? Whispers filled the hallways of Crux 7. They must have stolen technology. They're hiding something. No species advances this quickly. Vylok summoned Area Monroe for answers. "Your weapons," Vylok growled, his crystalline body flickering with anxiety. Where did you get them? Arya tilted her head. We made them. Lies, is it? Arya smiled faintly. You assume our strength lies in our size or longevity, like the Drash or Nimue. But humans don't work that way. We don't rest on our achievements. We push. We break limits. And when we're mocked, underestimated, or cornered, we adapt. Faster than anyone else. She leaned in, her tone icy. You mocked us because you didn't understand us. Let me make this clear, our greatest weapon isn't our ships. It's our spirit. You came looking for a species to laugh at. What you found is your worst nightmare. Vilac stepped back, his confidence shattered. Chapter 4. The turning point, the Galactic Council's arrogance dissolved like ash in the wind. Rumors spread across the galaxy. Humanity's vault contained technologies capable of annihilating entire planets. Weapons forged in desperation after surviving wars no other species could fathom. The Drash withdrew from council politics. The Nimue began speaking of humanity with reverence, as though Earth were a holy place. But humanity's message was clear: do not provoke us. And yet, someone did. A rogue faction of Ebony warships launched a surprise attack on an Earth colony near Alpha Centauri, believing humanity's weapons were a bluff. They were wrong. Within hours, the entire faction ceased to exist. Earth did not send its dreadnoughts, it sent a single squadron. The footage went viral. Alien ships torn apart in moments, obliterated by weapons too fast, too precise to defend against. Humanity's response was swift and cold. This was a warning. There will not be a second. Chapter 5. The legacy. Years later, humanity stood as one of the galaxy's most feared and respected species. Earth's fleet patrolled the void, not as conquerors, but as silent guardians. The Galactic Council, humbled and wary, treated humans with newfound caution. In the quiet of her office, aboard the Retribution, General Area Monroe looked out at the stars. Humanity had been mocked, underestimated, and pushed to the brink. But they had endured. They always endured. Monroe thought back to Earth's long, painful history, to wars that had claimed millions, to catastrophes that should have ended humanity but only forged it stronger. She remembered the dusty archives of their greatest scientists, engineers, and leaders who had written humanity's legacy not with words but with resolve. There's a reason we're here, she whispered to herself. We were built for this. For the stars. Her communicator buzzed softly. Another message from the Council, this time requesting Earth's presence as mediators in a galactic dispute. Humanity was no longer the punchline of the universe's joke. They had become its shield. Mock us all you want, Monroe whispered to the void. But never forget we are human. And that means more than you could ever understand. The stars outside seemed to twinkle in silent agreement.